What are controllers? When would we use them? And how? Imagine we have a list of posts. We're going to make this dummy data for now. Post 0, post 1, and post 2. Most resources are going to have very similar routes needed to interact with those resources, post being our resource. The first is going to be an index, a page to see all of a given resource. The next is going to be the form to create a post. After that, we'll want to give the user the ability to see a post. We want to show the user a single post. Now, there are several other routes that are considered resourceful, meaning most resources will use them. But for our example, we can just go with these three. We can now hit the posts index page, the posts show page, and the posts create form page. This is all fine and dandy, and it works well now. But the problem happens when we actually start, one, adding the remaining types of resourceful routes. One is we have to show the edit form for a post. Two, we actually have to store or save the post to the database. Three, we have to update the post in the database. And four, we have to destroy or delete an existing post. So together, with these three actual routes we did create, and these four commented out explanations of routes we could create, we start to get a lot of logic going, and all that logic gets stuffed into these callback functions, which, when not using dummy data, end up being lines and lines of code long. This is why you use controllers. How do you tell a route to hit a controller instead of a callback function? Really straightforward. Here's all you do. You say route get posts, and then you say, okay, hit the post controller and then index, show all posts, show an index of all posts. And you just do the same for the rest of the routes. And so we'll say posts create. That's, of course, going to hit the create action on the post controller. And the last one we have is to show a post. And that is going to hit the show action on the controller. And for the routes we haven't created, commented out right here, you would just continue to do the same thing. Well, let's go to our app, HTTP, controllers, and controller. And all we're actually going to do is we're going to create a new class, and we're going to call this post controller. And within post controller, we're going to extend the controller, and then we're going to create those functions that we just referenced. It works the same. So if we go post right there, if we go post 1, we get the singular shown post, or if we go create, we get create post form. Pretty cool stuff. Controllers are extremely powerful, and outside of extraordinarily small applications, you're going to be reaching for controllers just about all the time. Now, with that in mind, Laravel does something really cool to make working with and creating controllers much more enjoyable. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our terminal, and we're going to go to the base of our application. From here, we'll have access to PHP Artisan. Command. Scary. No. So we want to go to this make section. These make commands, this make namespace, these are generator commands. And what do generator commands do? Well, it will actually create a new controller class for us. So check this out. We're going to run PHP Artisan make controller. We're going to say post controller. And it's not going to work because I already created the post controller. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm actually going to cut all this out and then delete this file If I can find the delete, yep, there it is. We're going to run that command one more time. And then we click on the controllers directory and it automatically creates our post controller for us. Now that's pretty cool, right? But more than that, here's where it gets really cool, is we can do PHP artisan, make controller, and then -- help. And we get a list of all of these different options or flags that the PHP artisan make controller command can use. And the one we're looking for is resource. So I'm going to delete this one more time. And then we're going to clear this out. And we're going to recreate our Laravel controller, but with the -r flag. We're making a resourceful controller. Ooh, and you got to add the name. So we're making a resourceful post controller. There we go. And so what's the difference now? Well, that -r just added the index, the create, the store, the show, the edit, the update, and the destroy methods. These are your resourceful actions. The reason that our controller has the index, create, store, show, edit, update, and destroy methods is because those are what are considered resourceful actions. And this is the example that Laravel gives. And they're using photos, we're using posts, but they're both resources. And so basically a GET request, it gets the data. So it would either get all of the photos, or in our case, it would get all of the posts. Posts/create and the create method on our controller, that gets the create form to create a new resource. Now also notice over here that we have verbs. These are HTTP verbs. Getting is when we get the resource. We get all of our photos. We get the create form to submit a new photo. But we're just getting the form. That's why the create is a get, that gets the form. When you submit the form, you're actually submitting a post request to the same URI as the index. You're submitting a post request though, so you can have the same URI. And that's going to store, which is one of our controller actions, our resourceful controller actions. That's going to store a new photo based off what the user filled in to the create form. Then we can obviously get a single photo. So show is show a single photo. Then edit, photos, photo/edit. That is again a get. It's getting the form. It's not actually submitting data. It's not actually editing the data. It's just getting the edit form so the user can let us know how they want to edit the actual photo, or in our case, the post. Once they are done with the edit form and they submit the edit form, they're actually going to send a fancier post request, and it's going to be called put or patch. Technically, it's a post request behind the scenes, or a post verb. But put and patch and delete are actually post verbs. They're just fancy and dressed up. So the pretty important point right there is, like, when you're putting or you're patching or you're deleting, you're still posting data, right? You're not just getting the list of all photos. You're not just getting one of the forms, and you're not just getting a single photo. Post, put, patch, delete, they're just all posting data. One just happens to create, which is the photos. It stores, hence the action name, the resourceful controller method name, store. And then put/patch, these actually are interchangeable with each other. They both just update the data. They post updates. And then of course delete posts information to actually delete the photo, or in our case, the post. Laravel Controllers in a nutshell. It was a bit of information right there at the end. The resourceful controllers and routing and the HTTP verbs specifically. Just know we have not covered the exact implementation, the specifics of how to set those up yet. So if that was like a little over your head and you were like, oh man, I'm not sure if the rest of the series is for me, it's okay. Though that part was a step forward just to kind of get the basics of what we will be covering in front of your eyes so you could see it for the first time. So in the following series, as we build up to the actual implementation for what we just reviewed with the resourceful routing and controllers, you'll be like, oh, hey, I've seen that before. And after seeing it 3, 4, 5 times, I'm telling you, it will be a lot easier. So if you like this lesson, this Laravel Controllers lesson, make sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button. I will see you guys in the next lesson.